welcome. Welcome to yoga practice. We'll start by finding a comfortable seat. So this really is just a position of the body where there's just very little effort to position the body where you feel spacious. An effort of being upright. And taking a few deeper breaths, maybe close your eyes. So part of this settling, or kind of the mud settling and seeing things clearly, is that we actually choose to see like what is good. When we get a little more real about what's happening in our lives and our inner life, our personal world, that we can get pretty hung up on like how I'm doing it wrong. So it's good. We could even just start to reach the arms out to the side and just start to breathe like that nice big inhale. And then as you exhale and you bring your arms down. So not only are we breathing and moving, but there really is this purification of our own awareness. So we kind of feel into what's happening right now. And how easy it is to really start to feel kind of dissatisfied, and right now there is actually a planting seeds of being content. Can I, even though there are some things that like aren't going my way or are difficult, that I can open to that. Start to feel your spine, the strength of your spine, the calm softness of your face. Good. And then next time the arms come down, you can keep your arms down. We're going to undo the legs. Let's just take the legs, just reach them out to the side so that it just kind of looks like this with your legs out. And we'll just turn towards one of the legs and just reach down towards your foot. And you're probably going to kind of fold over that foot. And then you come up and you just reach down the other leg. So it's just a real initial kind of moving, kind of stretching, getting like space and energy moving down through your legs. Just back and forth. So again, just a really simple kind of happiness even. Like, hey man, I'm here. Breathing and moving. I'm not kind of stuck. I'm not obsessing about anything. I'm just feeling breath. And then bend your knees, take your feet right on the floor, lean back, and then do the dropping of the knees side to side here. That loose action. Breathe. Like your whole belly moving here. You start to like a little bit of a twist. Face the side, face the other side. Like your whole chest is rotating a little bit. Yeah, okay. So good. Like it's just good to feel movement in like your whole body, way down by your pelvis. So easy to hold stiffness in your lower back. And so right now, it's just a little more fluid. Good. And then as we pause here, you are actually going to take yourself back to this seated position. I would like to start by doing some breathing of our Kapalabhati breath. Okay. And this is just a great way of kind of just getting things stirred up, kind of. So you do want to sit in a really just that comfortable way of being upright here, so that right around your belly can move. Like you can just feel your navel is able to kind of move forward and back, and yeah, tissue might be good. In fact, I like to start by blowing my nose a little bit, because Kapalabhati breathing is blowing your nose. So it looks like this. So I'm just doing a sharp, sharp, sharp exhale. It's good to start with maybe a few, just kind of that feeling like that you're doing it right. There really is a muscular contraction of squeezing like your abdomen, just in general. And then just keep going and do, gosh, maybe 10, 15, even 20 of these. Any pace. And then take a big inhale. And then in any way, you just fold forward. You just lean forward and you squeeze out. You might swallow, like, because the throat can get like a feeling of kind of almost dry from that. Good. And then just notice how that felt. It might be like an internal kind of, woo, yeah, getting things moving. Even your abdominal muscles, it's good to feel like, yeah, I was just like working. So possibly what we'll do is that Kapalabhati breath, we can bring in that action in different things that we do. Please take your socks off if you have them on, and move yourself right onto, let's go into the back side for a moment here. So when you recline onto your back, bring your arms and your legs up into the air, circle your hands around, circle your feet around. And so you're moving your wrists and your ankles, your fingers and your toes. So aware of just those little joints that are so important. Circle both ways. Breathe and feel your spine lengthening out here. The free quality of your breath. Now we're going to start to just reach the arms and legs way out to the side. Pull your spine up into your body slightly. And then bring arms and legs together and then reach out to the side and just keep doing this. And feel like your shoulders, your hips are the main joints that we're moving here. Um, and yeah, this is pretty straightforward. And then also, we could bring in next time your arms and legs come together, then start to lower your legs a little bit and reach your arms up above your head. So now they're kind of going down and up instead of out to the sides. And then they come up and then they lower a little bit and they come up. Now, this is really strong, so being mindful of how low your arms and legs go here. This is, really just a warm up. So, yeah, be kind. And then go back out to the sides again. And do this even like a little bit faster. So, you do it faster, but without holding your breath, like just moving, breathing. Good. And then again, like up and down, kind of how I'll just describe it. Legs going lowering down, arms reaching up above the head. And this too, like a little faster without holding your breath. Ah, good. And then go ahead and just draw your knees into your chest. Lift your head up and take your hands behind your head. Interlace your fingers back there to assist. Hold your head up. And then just reach your right leg out and let it hover above the floor. And then just switch. Bend your right knee. Let your left leg extend out. Yeah, and then just go back and forth. Breathe. Ah. Keep drawing your chin down. Good. And now pause. Let's go ahead and just roll over to the side. And as you come up, you're actually going to move right into downward facing dog. So opening your hands, give them space apart. You could even slightly point your fingers out to the side so you can ground the inner hands. And then as you start to lift up, breathe. And not, without any haste here. Feel like there's no hurry. Just exploring. But start to feel actually that you're really doing this pose. Like the arms are straight, straighten your legs, press your thighs back, lengthen your spine. Good. And then just very lightly touch your knees down. Let's take the knees a little bit apart and move to child pose. Okay. Just breathe. Now, even in your child pose, we're going to just play with that action of Kapalabhati, but not as sharp and abrupt. Rather, feel your exhale in your child pose and just squeeze it out. Like really feel those abdominal muscles that you're squeezing to exhale. Okay. So just work. Like, oh yeah, there's those ab muscles and contracting, and then they relax, and then they contract, and that is really can wake up energy way deep in your belly also. And then as you come up, You're on all fours. Take your knees closer together here. And make sure, too, like on all fours, that your spine is lengthening and that your head really is attached. It's not just dangling, okay? Take your knees closer together. Reach your right leg straight back. Don't let your belly drop down here, okay? There's a little bit of lift of your navel. Now we're going to keep the back straight as you bend your knee and pull it forward, okay? So don't pull your navel up here. Keep straight back. And then reach your right leg back. And then reach your right knee forward, back, forward. And just kind of play with that kind of isolated in your leg, hip, feeling of straightening and bending, opening through the hip. Next time your leg goes back, see how high you can lift your leg up. And let's go ahead and let the belly drop and look forward. Bend your right knee as if you could bring your foot towards your head. Like your toes are about to touch your head. And then just let that go. Keep your knees together as you go back towards child pose. Just play with that. Maybe you rarely do this. And come up, all fours. So that left leg reaching back. And then the knee bends, comes forward. And so you're really not moving your spine here, okay? It's just your leg moving. Sensing that flow of breath, not contracting anywhere. Next time you reach your left leg back, then it lifts up and you kind of pull your spine in as you look forward. So yes, this is a back bend, chest forward, bend that left knee as if your toes could touch your head. I know. As you let this go, your left knee comes down, keeping knees together, a little child pose. Good. And then as you come up, moving back to down dog, toes or feet apart a little bit. Lengthen. Good. And then just walk forward and bring yourself all the way up. As you come up, arms go out to the side. Press your shoulder blades on your back. Really press. And then just bring your arms down. But so now you're just kind of standing here. But turn this into your Tadasana, your mountain pose. So like, can you turn, just standing into mountain pose? Like, yes, I am putting forth effort to align. I'm not leaning in any direction. There's a sense of just straight up and down. Whole chest, space in your chest. So we can actually do that Kapalabhati breath when we're standing, okay? So play with that. You can even take one hand on your belly and even just do a few of these to just feel that sharp exhale. So just make sure you kind of have the technique down. The airways have to be very open. At any point, you could pause and blow your nose because there can be what I call results from this blowing. And then in the formal practice, you're going to do again about 20 of these. Any pace. And then inhale. As you exhale, go to a full forward bend. You could softly bend your knees so you're just draping over. And then as you bring yourself up, so you're going to move towards the front of the mat. And you know what? We're going to go through a sun salute. We're going to do this together. And then you're actually going to do 3 more of these on your own. And I'm just going to give you space to, it's good, even when we're, in a virtual class, to just do this on your own without me saying anything. The palms are together, just grounding, feeling this presence. Deep inhale, arms come up. And the exhale, you go all the way over. You move back to your downward facing dog. Even possibly close your eyes and just feel, I'm in down dog. I can sense, I don't need to think about down dog. I'm just feeling. And then plank pose too. We don't, the mind can just stay calm. I'm in plank. Lower down. Lengthen your legs back and moving to your cobra, your own back bend. The body, you can choose what kind of back bend you're doing here. And then you move back to down dog, you lift up. Now from here, you could really just walk forward, or you could step your right foot forward. Just take a little lunge moment here. And then you step the left foot forward. Come all the way up. And just reach up. Take palms together in front of the heart. So that's 1. So you get to do 3 more on your own. Okay? If you feel like you need to follow me, you can. You can move at your own pace. You might end up doing fewer or more than 3. So whenever you are finished, you are going to move towards the back of your mat. We're going to continue kind of this quiet practice where you will take tree pose, and we are going to practice the moving into tree pose and moving out of tree pose and making sure that is such important parts of tree pose when you're balancing. So you're going to take that little step onto your right leg and then, explore the moving in. And even just, you might even place your left foot on your inner right calf or shin. Just feel the moving into this pose. The heart is light and the heart stays light when you switch. When you then balance on your left leg, it's almost like you're never not in tree pose. Because there's just a brief transition. And now I'm balancing on my left leg. And now in the transition, I go, now I'm balancing all of my weight on my right leg. So as you're really nice and slow, exploring the uprightness, the straight up and down, kind of like you're staying aligned with that plumb line that goes through the body. This feeling straight up and down. It might even feel almost weightless. Of course, when you get to the front of the mat, you have to turn around and then play with really firm, strong, like feeling of a tree. But when we're aligned, there is that that inner space. Like even in a tree, there's all these channels, these rivers of, even water, moving through, flowing. So make sure you just sense both of those. Good. So let's let go of that tree practice. And I want to take a moment just with the feet, the legs like wide apart now. So you are going to step or turn on your mat so you can take your feet wide, right? And then point your feet out to the side. And we're going to do just that fluid action where you reach your arms up. And then as you start to bend your knees, you also bend your elbows. So your arms are going towards like that goalpost position as your knees bend. And then you straighten both arms and legs. And then you do your goal pose. Feel your shoulder blades slide onto your back. Reach your knees out. And yeah, keep playing with this. Now, as you're doing this, actually, step one is you have to be grounded. You really, we want to feel, because if you're not grounded, it's really stressful. And then we remember, like, oh, yeah, I'm here to decrease my stress. Step one. So I have to be grounded, stable feeling. You play with this can be interesting how it feels through your shoulders, your shoulder blades. Because I could bend my elbows and they could kind of, like I could slouch as I do this. But I'm feeling that non-slouch quality with the length of the neck. And then really doing the reaching the knees out. But if you do that too much, like you'll tip. So just that right amount. Good. Now, as we let this go, the arms are going to come down. The feet move back to parallel. And now the arms really draw behind you and you interlace your fingers. So that might really feel different than what we were just doing. Your shoulder blades are drawing together. And then we'll go into our wide-legged forward bend. Okay. So make sure you can actually feel like your tailbone is untucking and you draw your shoulder blades together the whole time here as you go over, you breathe. Yeah, and you come up. You just push into your feet, you come all the way up, reach your arms up. Good. Now arms are going to go right out to the side here. I'll just call this T position. All right, with the arms straight out, and then we're just going to take right foot, open your right foot to the right, left toes point in. We're going to practice right from here the action of triangle pose. This is like, okay, start to go, like this is triangle pose, and then come back up. This is a very like Iyengar school approach to triangle, where you feel that T position of your arms as you hinge, like right in the top of the right hip. Okay, the legs stay strong and straight. So do this a few times where you start to go into triangle pose. And you understand that the whole pelvis has to rotate, like you're pointing your tailbone to the left. Coming up. Doing this one more time. Now, typically what happens here is that you actually kind of drop that bottom right hand to touch your leg. So it might not be that perfect T position with your arms. Grounding, straighten your legs, straighten your spine, lengthen the sides of your body. And we want a feeling like I have space. I'm not all like, tensed up trying to do this pose. You know, that, So maybe your hand is a little higher up on your leg. Good. And then bend the right knee. And as you come up, just reach both arms out. And then revolved warrior two. Drop your left arm. Really bend the right knee. Like even step wider and kind of sink into this as you stretch and open the right side. So yeah, that right hip drops down. You lift up through your spine. Yes, hold this and breathe. Move like fully into this pose. Right where you feel it, like breathing in that space. As you let go, arms down. We're going to pivot the feet. You might step even a little closer together. And then just reach your arms out to the side. So here's that T position. Open left foot to the left. Right toes point in. Now your legs are staying really straight here, nice and sharp. And practice triangle and feeling like your arms are in that T position. And then you come up. So notice how tailbone is pointing down here. And then you could study the tailbone is like a rudder. So it's pointing to the right and therefore moving the whole boat, and you come up. So as you get to know this action, I know it's hard. You're like doing that little hinge at the top of the left hip and the legs really engage. Okay? So you might even kind of see how my pelvis is moving here. Make sure you don't suddenly arch your back. So navel stays in. It's where we use like that same Kapalabhati muscles here. Now your bottom left hand is going to touch your left leg as you feel your way into your full triangle pose. Keep pointing now. Really point your tailbone to the right. Lengthen. And just feeling this energy and strength in your legs, grounded, spacious through your spine, chest, throat. And then you bend your left knee. You start to come up. Reach arms out to the side for a moment, and then that right arm drops. Yes, just keep breathing and even smiling as this is really intense, like holding these poses. Bend the left knee, like really bend. And when you're bending the left knee, that left hip starts to drop down, and then you open that left side of the body. Breathe, still here, like navel in a little bit. Grounding. So important. It's just like in our lives how we can suddenly feel ungrounded. So we have to come back to the present and say, honey, first and foremost, you need to feel in your body grounded. Now, letting this go. Feet go back to parallel, and then stepping your feet together. Pause in your mountain pose. Breathe, just align, do the work of mountain pose. Good. So we're going to move back up towards the front of the mat and take palms together, ground your feet, sweep your arms up, move to your full forward bend here. All the way over. And then from here, when you go back to your downward facing dog, of all places, we're going to play with doing a Kapalabhati breath here. And I know it's going to feel so different. So right around your navel, there's that exhale, sharp exhale. And then inhale. As you exhale, touch your knees down and move back to child pose. Pause. Now, as you come back up, you're going to move just to all fours, okay? And just notice we're kind of comparing how this feels now if you do Kapalabhati breath on all fours, okay? So this is just your own pace, sharp exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale. Exhale back to child pose. Just pause. It's good to notice how, if you are just feeling like some results, like if you want to blow your nose here, this is a very deep cleansing, even, just for your nostrils, your sinuses. And, just deep in the belly, it gets that really deep, like agitation in your belly to purify. Now, this time as we come up, we actually move to our plank pose. And you'll probably notice quite a difference. Like as you attempt to do this Kapalabhati breath in your plank pose, it just kind of reveals like what muscles we're using. So go ahead and move into your full plank if that's okay. If you're doing knee down plank, that's fine too. So here you are. And then inhale, take your knees down, back to child pose. Good. Now, as you come up, you're going to take yourself to a seated position. So in that plank pose, if you practice that, you might notice how your ab muscles were working a lot in plank. And so it wasn't so easy to get that great big action in your belly. And I don't know about you, but it's pretty common to feel this kind of pulling at your throat. So what's happening is as you're moving your breath, it's pulling at what are called these breathing diaphragms. And one of them is this diaphragm we call like our vocal cords in our throat. So yeah, don't be surprised if it was like, wow, why was I feeling this kind of tugging? Yeah, it's just a way of getting to know like what is going on when you're exhaling and inhaling. So right here, we're in a cross-legged position and you're just going to move to a little twist. Breathe. Either side is twisting, feeling nice and open across your chest, and then just twist the other way. So twisting means that you're lifting, right? You're lifting up, your shoulders are down, and there's a little bit of this same musculature that we were using in Kapalabhati to twist, right? You got to squeeze like your waistband in order to twist. You're kind of squeezing. So move to the other side. And notice, like, nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, twist. Big inhale, lengthen tall. Exhale, twisting. Switch sides again. Don't sink your chest as you're drawing your navel in, like when you're squeezing and twisting. We don't like pull in so much that we just start to sink the chest. We stay long. Good. And then go ahead and release. So we're going to take the legs nice and wide apart. And from here, move into our half circle Ardha Mandala pose. And we are actually going to play with being in this pose a little bit longer. Okay. So we'll start, I'll just, describe how we get into this pose. So we're going to bend, I'm going to bend my right leg. So my right knee bends, I'm going to take my right foot onto my inner left leg here. And then from here, I'm going to take my right hand, like way out to the right. And you start to just push. Now we could practice how you push down, you start to lift up like your pelvis. And in order to do this, I have to push down that bottom right shin, okay? So just make sure that the surface you're on, like I could shift onto my mat a little bit more. So I'm pushing down my shin. Now the left foot is going to go wherever the left foot feels the best. You ground your left foot, and then you open, lift your chest. Your top arm is just going to reach out, and you breathe here. Now this could move a little bit, like your top arm. What I love about this pose, speaking of opening the airways like Kapalabhati, is that your sinuses, your throat, really get a unique position here for cleansing. So breathe, hold this pose. Let your head even drop back a little bit. Or, move your head. Just let it just play slightly. Opening. Breathe. Like, refresh your effort, the energy here. Like, yes, I'm doing this. Open. We could just say explore, opening, opening. Deep breaths now. You're going to take 3 deep breaths. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Slowly lower down. As you lower down, we're going to move right back to just cross-legged pose for a moment here. You're upright. Just notice how that felt. Stay nice and wide across your chest and move into a little twist to one side, or you still feel nice and tall. Twist to the other side. So really gentle. Breathe, feel. Do this just back and forth, really tender twist. Relax around your eyes and therefore your brain. Fluid action around your neck, shoulders are down. Now we will move to the other side. So we start by taking the legs out wide apart and then bending your left knee. Take that left foot onto inner right thigh. So knowing that you're going to be kind of pressing into your left shin area actually. So that left hand goes way out to the left. And you could practice even a couple times, kind of the pushing, the lifting. And so you get that, just the right position where you ground and you can lift up. And then we're going to stay here. So where's your right foot? Like going to ground down so you can lift and open. Reach your top arm. Just right. Like where does it want to go? It might move, it might explore a little bit. Lots of space to breathe. Try not to sink or drop into your bottom shoulder or arm. You're really lifting up and you're staying here. So even like, what is your head doing? Move your head a little bit. Play with this. Breathe way down to your pelvis. Probably all sorts of sensations down lower back, pelvis, hips. And just staying here, breathing. How to stay open. Feel a sense of being grounded. Three deep breaths now, full breaths. Staying with it. Slowly down as you're ready, coming all the way down. Good. Back to your cross-legged position. Let's actually take the other leg in front. If you know that you always move to that same position, you might even just take hands on your knees so that when you twist, you could keep one hand on your knee. Other arm, other hand releasing back. Make sure that we could call this like an easy twist. Easy twist, like when you go the other side, your hand on your knee, means that you're not forcing, there's more of a feeling. Really feel like your head kind of swiveling easily, align like your throat, mouth. You could work that exhale a little bit. Squeeze. So twisting, you might sense this too, as like side muscles, the contracting of those oblique muscles. And back and forth, no clamping your breath. Possibly now your hand starts to reach across, across. While keeping all sorts of just like awareness and space in your chest. Sometimes we reach across and we suddenly sink down. So we stay lifted. Good. And then pause, extend forward, forward, forward. Gradually kind of bow over your legs. So that movement you just did, one thing it's really similar to is what is often called the number four pose. So we'll see how in number four pose, which we'll do now, is really similar to bringing like your shins like this, how your shins get closer to your chest when we're bowing over like this. So when you undo your legs, you're just going to recline. We're going to go through the full range of motion in that number four pose. So when you recline here, keep both feet on the mat, knees are bent, and arms just go to the side. So shoulder blades are nice and flat now. And we start by just crossing the right leg over the left. So this means that your right shin is right above your left knee. Lengthen the sides of your body and deeply rotate in your right hip. So what happens is your right knee kind of moves away from your chest. Let's make that more obvious by letting your right knee kind of unrotate in your hip so your knee actually kind of comes closer to your chest. And then as you do that again, where you rotate deep in your right hip, where your right knee kind of floats away from your chest or away from your right shoulder. Okay, and then we lift the left foot and you actually keep lifting your left foot and draw your right shin in towards your chest. And then place your left foot back down. And that's a good one to work with. You're just simply lifting your left foot so much that it draws your right knee into the chest. And then you lower it back down. Okay? Just kind of work that where you draw in and then you release down. So you're playing with how close you're getting your right shin in towards your chest. But what's great here is you can't round your back. So you're keeping your spine lengthened as you're drawing that shin in. And I like doing this arm-free version, right? So no tension, just keep lifting and lowering your left foot. Good. And then just let that go. So bring the right foot back down to the floor. And then you cross your left leg over the right. So by left leg, I mean that your left shin, and it really is your shin, like not even so much just your ankle. You could just right above your ankle, a feeling of your shin bone on your right thigh bone. And then just do that rotation in your hip here. Keep your right foot down. And you rotate in your left hip so that your left knee kind of floats away from your chest. And kind of relax that so the knee comes closer in and then it goes away. So we do want to maintain that rotation in the hip so you can lengthen the sides of your body. And then lift your right foot a little bit. And this is naturally going to draw your whole left shin closer to your chest. And then just drop the right foot down and just play with this. Like, okay, how does this feel on your left leg, your left hip? And I know we're doing this without any arm support, any manipulation with your arms. So just feel how your spine stays lengthened, even your chest stays open, breath is free. The right foot lifting up and then dropping down. So no tension, no holding your breath. Good. And then placing both feet down. Keep your shoulders pressing down right here as you lift up to a little bit of a bridge pose. So draw or push your feet straight into the floor and just lift your butt up away from the floor. Ground your shoulders, lift your chest. Push straight down through your feet. Don't roll onto the edges of your feet. And now lift your tailbone right straight up. Chest is open. And then slowly down out of your bridge pose. And just a different arm variation. So what happens when you now bring your arms down alongside you? Ground your feet, moving right into bridge pose by lifting the very tip of your tailbone up, up, up. Breathe and feel now your whole body opening. And right here, roll your shoulders underneath one at a time. And this is that same action of like your shoulder blades drawing together and then lifting your chest, getting that deep stretch across your pectoral area. You can breathe. Tailbone up, ground your feet. Now, eyes are calm, really relaxed eyes. Good. Untuck your shoulders and then roll down slowly. All the way. Breathe. Now lift your feet. Take your hands behind your head. And this is the end of the opposite here. Lift your head. Draw your chin down. So we were just using back muscles. Now we're more into abdominal muscles. Straighten your right leg and reach your right elbow across to your left knee. And then bend both knees. You can drop your head for a moment and then lift your head up. Straighten left leg, reach left elbow across. And then just let this go. So you can drop your head each time or keep your head lifted and just go back and forth. So the right leg straightens, you reach your right elbow across. And then you switch. Reaching left elbow across. You just go back and forth, side to side, twisting, breathing. whole body, right? Whole body doing this. No strain. Good. And then we just let this go. Feet drop down to the floor. Arms drop down to the sides. And then just pause, like right here where you are. This is half Shavasana pose. So let yourself just be still, and especially after that work we just did, like just the belly calming, relaxing, and settling. And then as you listen to your body, just that kind of organic way of arranging the body for Shavasana, moving into stillness. So it's so good to observe what has been cultivated here, like what has been generated, this very natural stillness, calm connection to the body, like able to stay in your body, quiet. It's like the surface of a lake now. It even might help to bring in that image of this calm surface. Quiet. Anything that you're sensing, even thoughts that come in, they just drift by. Feel your whole body. You might notice this in this stillness, there's still these little waves of breath, heartbeat, whole body letting go, whole body letting go. This is what kindness feels like, both toward yourself and the whole world. So we see this can be cultivated. Now, even the transition, wouldn't this be good practice? Like even the transition now when you're just letting go of Shavasana and yeah, we're really clear, like I'm gonna come up to seated. There's kind of work to be done here. So as we take palms together in front of the heart, we could just say, may I stay clear. May my heart stay open, free of tension. We'll close with the sound of Om. We'll take a deep inhale. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and doing this practice, even, staying till the end. Little pat on your back. So, as a little, maybe just a reminder for today, it's Tuesday, November 15th. I will not be holding class on Friday. So, just so you know, if you attend Friday class in any way, there won't be class on Friday. There will be class tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday, and I do my in-person class at noon at Common Ground. So, yeah, you can love to see you there. And if you have any kind of feedback, I know we don't have the chat or the comments on YouTube, but you can always send a little note to Common Ground. Believe me, we get it. And really appreciated to hear from people because we know it's so not in person. But wishing you a wonderful practice and yeah, can't wait to see you again.